Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is a story about Naruto, get sent to the high school DxD world during the fight with Kaguya. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content, it really means a lot. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. So let's start this video. It's over. These were the thoughts of a blonde boy wearing an orange and black jumpsuit that looks like it's seen better days, floating in the dimensional gap covered in golden flames. Naruto, I am sure they'd all be proud of you, Kurama tried to console his first friend. Naruto was on the verge of tears, his lips quaking. All the exhaustion, hunger, and pain was getting to him. Play sadness and sorrow st. You really think so, Kurama? Kakashi-sensei, Sakura, and Sasuke are all dead because of me, because I wasn't strong enough. Maybe if I really paid attention in the academy, maybe if I had spent more time training, maybe if I was more serious, maybe if I took the ash-culling bone instead of Sasuke, he would have made a difference. If he had both yin and yang sealed, then maybe he could have saved Sakura and Kakashi-sensei. I failed them all, Kurama. I'm all alone, Kurama, I'm alone. All the massive fox could do was let his partner vent out all his frustrations. It was a miracle they actually defeated Kaguya alone, but that bitch had one last trick up her sleeve, and here they are in this strange void. Now, all Kurama could do was let him vent before they actually find a way out of this place. The only thing keeping him alive is Kurama chakra mode, and that would soon run out. Naruto, I never knew you were one to spit on the sacrifices of your friends. They sacrificed their lives, so you could live, because they believed you could defeat Kaguya. They died with a smile on their face, and you owe it to them to live your life to the fullest, because that's what they'd want you to do. Naruto was in his mindscape on his hands and knees, listening to all of what Kurama said with realization dawning on his face. He had to live. He owed them that much, at least. Looks like I'm finally getting through to him, Kurama thought. The sooner he got Naruto out of this place, the better. His chakra was weak, and it barely helped in protecting Naruto from danger. This strange dimension was fighting against them, as if they were not meant to be here, but that's the least of their problems, however. Two massive signatures were lurking around in this space, and one of them was advancing to their location fast. These signatures, they were incomprehensible, in the sense that the massive, nine-tailed fox had never sensed an energy like it before. It was not chakra, nor was it natural energy. It was something else entirely. Get up, Naruto. You're not alone. 9 bijus all gathered around him with their fist, stretched out to make a fist bump with Naruto. You have me and my siblings. You might be the last of the elemental nations, but, through you, a new generation shall spring forth, and this time they will be guided into the light, and I promise you'll never feel loneliness, Naruto, and when you do feel it, you do what you always do. You find your precious people, so get up. Uzumaki. I will not have my Jinchuriki brood like an Uchiha. Shikaku, Kurama all surrounded him, cheering him on, and then Naruto knew he wasn't alone, or at least not entirely. Naruto brought his fist up, and bumped it with all the biju's fist, and a ripple went through the water in his mindscape. Well, he sniffs, we better get out of here. Naruto wiped his nose with his tattered sleeves. The gears in his mind were shifting furiously, trying to find a solution. A way of the void they were in. And how will you get out, Uzumaki? Shikaku asked. After Naruto defeated him, he had a small amount of respect for him, and seeing him go one-on-one with Kaguya, made him respect Naruto even more. Trust me, Shikaku, I have a plan, but it's suicidal, and I don't even know where I'll land. Naruto was already out of his mindscape with the Hiraishin kunai in hand. I really hope this works, because I want to live, he thought before he got serious. The shinobi closed his eyes, burning an image of Konoha on his mind, through his entire body. He tried to envision himself in Konoha, and when the picture became clear, he let loose a great cry, summoning all the chakra he had left, not sparing a single drop. Ha! Naruto went full Kurama Sage mode, trying his best to hone in on a Hiraishin kunai, but couldn't find any. Time for plan B. Taking in a deep breath, Naruto closed his eyes for a second, and opened them to reveal that his former orange pupils with a black horizontal bar, and a vertical slit changed to purple with a ripple-like pattern. He clapped his hands together, and focused all of his chakra in his eyes. The ripple pattern was being overlapped with another different pattern entirely as a crack in the endless void of nothingness appeared in front of the shinobi. The Eye of Samsara had done a lot of feats he himself bore witness to, which were nothing short of miracles, but the blonde was inexperienced in its usage. Having a basic understanding of all universal things chakra-related, Naruto knew something was happening the moment he sensed a sudden change in the flow of chakra in his eyes. Naruto couldn't see, but something was happening to his eyes. He could feel it, and then, a crack appeared in the endless void of nothingness in front of the shinobi. Seeing this, he pumped more chakra into his eyes to strengthen the jutsu, and his efforts were rewarded when the crack widened again. Just a little more. Naruto tried to reassure himself, but he knew he was on his last leg. His eyes bled due to the strain put on them. His eyelids felt heavy, and his consciousness slipped away at an alarming rate. His body disintegrated bit by bit as the chakra cloak protecting him waned, thus, leaving him defenseless against the dimensional gap's corrosive nature. The only thing slowing down the process was Kurama, who was still pumping the last of his chakra into Naruto. The other Bijus had sacrificed all of their chakra and had fallen into a deep stasis. Come on, come on, come on. He screamed as golden chakra burst from his body, and the crack widened enough for Hiroshin kunai to pass through it. I'm coming, everyone. He screamed mentally as he threw his father's famous kunai into the crack. Hiroshin no jutsu. Swish. He was gone in a flash. The blonde escaped death and the dimensional gap into the unknown. The crack in space closed up. He never saw the huge red western dragon comparable to the size of the first Hokage's wooden statue coming, nor a little girl dressed in a gothic Lolita outfit looking at where he was with keen interest. The little girl could feel the huge amount of chakra left behind by the creature that invaded her home, and it felt human. But no human could have survived in the dimensional gap. Someone strong was in the gap. I will need their power if I'm to remove Great Red from my home, she mused. I will find you, stranger. Scene change. The moon was out in a certain town in Japan when a crack in space, the size of a human head, opened up in thin air. A three-pronged kunai came out of it and stuck itself into the ground, and a heavily bleeding body appeared right beside the kunai. I made it, I survived. The blonde Uzumaki couldn't move, but he was grateful he made it out of there alive. His eyelids were getting heavy, and all he just wanted to do was sleep for now. His partner's voice congratulated him before he became unconscious. You did well, Naruto, Kurama commended the unconscious blonde. An event that happened once was happening again. The mindscape was getting darker and darker, while Kurama couldn't stop his own eyelids from closing. It's alright, now that they were back home, or so Kurama thought. The nine-tailed fox's pupils dilated a fraction when he sensed something was wrong. Where did the Hiroshin kunai send us to, Naruto? This isn't Konoha. Kurama knew everything was wrong when he sensed no chakra in the people living in this place, nor did he sense the Shinju or the massive chakra network created by Madara using the Mugen Tsukuyomi. Damn it, Naruto, where did that Hiroshin kunai take us, and what was that jutsu? Kurama wondered. How Naruto was able to create a crack in space in the first place, before he closed his eyes, completely out of chakra. Time skip. 2 years later. I'm bored, guys, when Naruto Uzumaki sighed for the zillionth time that day. Kurama, I'm bored, he whined. Kurama, the strongest of all Bijus, really wanted to unleash his greatest Bijudama on the blonde menace and the crappy apartment they called home, but refrained from doing something like that because the last time he and Shikaku had a misunderstanding. They ended up destroying their former apartment while Naruto was out on business. Something bad happened that day, something really bad. Oh, Kurama still remembered that day like it was yesterday. The blonde descended on them like they were a bunch of teenagers, and the pranks that followed. Oh god, Kurama and Shikaku lost a part of them that day. Just ignore him. Just bear with it, Kurama. At least until reinforcements arrived. Shikaku, sleeping beside Kurama in his chibi form, communicated with his brother telepathically. I don't think I can take this anymore, Shikaku, Kurama voiced out telepathically. You have to, big bro, I don't want to be in his crosshairs. You do know what happens to those that get an insignia of a bullseye with a spilled ramen cup on it, right? Kurama just had to endure because he loved his sanity. Whoever's marked with the revenge of the fallen ramen sign is doomed for life, but luckily very few people knew a way out of this predicament. And what was the remedy, you ask? A sacrifice of 1,000 instant ramen to the ramen god Uzu Ramen was required. Of course, people thought this an urban myth, because no one could find out the identity of the ramen god. Anyone that tried to investigate Uzu Ramen became a living shell of their former self. Kurama, so bored, the blonde Uzumaki wailed. Kurama Naruto called out his partner's name in a sing-song voice. Shit. This is bad. Where's Seiken when you need her? The kitsune was already sweating bullets, looking for a way out of the pickle he was in. Seiken would release this certain nerve-calming gas whenever Naruto blew a gasket, and it was pretty effective. Plus the fact that Seiken had a pure record out of them, all helped her case too. She was in Naruto's grace. The damn slugs never broken a thing in this shitty house. How she did so was a mystery to the orange fox. Oi, Shikaku, would you help a brother out? The nine-tailed fox called for help. Don't drag me into this, man. Come on, I'd do anything. Every Biju for himself is the #1 rule of this apartment. Damn it. Okay, think, Kurama, think. What if I gave him a target? No, I'm not that heartless. Wait, maybe this could work. Go enroll in a school or something. Kurama, the ever-lazy fox, has once again saved its hide. No, I'm not cut out for school. Naruto refuted. Then go get a job, boy. Last time I checked you had 9 mouths to feed. You lot don't need sustenance. Then get us out of this crappy apartment. I'm still sore about our old house, you rotten fox. Go visit the old man in that ramen shop you frequent so much. Naruto froze when he remembered the old man wanted to tell him something important. And just like that, the blonde was out the window, with a black muscle t-shirt, under an orange leather jacket, with the words "Orange is awesome" styled at the back, and blue skinny jeans with orange sneakers. Crazy the logs. Now that Naruto was out of the way, Kurama wondered where the adult magazine he was reading disappeared to. Scene change. Everything was going normal in Delhi ramen shop today. Customers were coming in and out of the establishment, ordering different kinds of ramen. A fly was buzzing around looking for its next victim to torment. The chefs were busy making ramen in the kitchen before a special globe started blinking red, and the alarm systems went frenzy. This could only mean one thing to the chefs of Delhi noodle shop. Look alive, boys. I want all hands on deck. The top chef bellowed in a sergeant's voice while pacing in front of all the assembled chef in the kitchen. There might be a chance that one of us is going down today and may the best chef win. He gave everyone one last glance and turned around. Let's take down this son of a bitch. Roger, Sarge, the whole crew shouted. After the short motivational speech by Hiroshima, the owner of the noodle shop, Naruto blitzed in, skidding to a stop in front of Hiroshima with his eyes narrowed. Aim your best shot, old man hero, he challenged. Oh, it's on, Uzumaki. And like that, all the chefs rolled up their sleeves with one goal in mind, to fill up the monster in front of them. Cups upon cups of ramen were sacrificed to the ramen god, but they all fell in front of his divine retribution. He's pushing me to my limits. I don't think I can hold on much longer, one of the chefs lamented. The situation looked bleak. It was a clean defeat, and Hiroshima was a man of honor. I concede, Uzumaki, Hiroshima admitted a clean defeat. Heh, don't worry, old man. The day you defeat me is still thousands of years away, Naruto stated with his trademark ear-splitting grin. Ah, that hit the spot, he sighed, patting his stomach. The Naruto face-off was a tradition that began 2 months after Naruto's first visit to the noodle shop. The official score is Naruto 34, Hiroshima 0. And the best thing about the Naruto face-off was that the ramen was free. Everyone knows that Hiroshima became a millionaire not too long after Naruto's first step into the door of Hiroshima's little shop. The old man called Naruto to the counter and placed a bowl of broth in front of him. I have a gift for you, Naruto, the old man said all of a sudden. What is it, old man? The blonde ninja asked with genuine curiosity on his face. I sure hope it's a free ramen pass for a week. I'd become bankrupt, old man Hiro deadpanned. Yeah, no shit, he agreed in a dull manner. Hiro dropped an orange envelope with a message on it with a title that reads, to our number one customer. On the table. Naruto, who was slouching on the table, raised his head up when he saw the envelope, and found a golden key in it when he tore it open. Congratulations, Naruto, I just bought you a new house in Kuo, the old man exclaimed. Oh, old man, thank you so much. Naruto held the key like it was a lifeline tossed to a sinner in hell. You deserve it, Naruto. The old man ruffled the blonde shinobi's hair. I hope you actually find a new job and a nice girlfriend. Naruto was going to miss the Shingahashi district because of the old man and his noodle shop, but he had this feeling that Kuo wouldn't be boring like this shithole he landed in after falling into Kaguya Uzumatsu Hirasaka, after sealing her off for eternity. Thanks, old man. I better get packing then. Don't be a stranger, Naruto, the old man said. Goodbye, old man, Naruto waved at Hiroshima. Naruto was on his way home, bored out of his mind. He wondered if his lifestyle was okay. Was it something worthy of the number one hyperactive, knucklehead ninja? He didn't even know what hyperactive meant anymore. The blonde Uzumaki quickened his pace, because he wanted to see how the Bijus would react to the news that he's got a new apartment in Kuo. Those little runts have been bitching and moaning about the poor living conditions lately. Scene change. All 9-tailed beasts were in a state of panic right now, because Shukaku and Kurama had wrecked their home again. Naruto would descend upon them with an unholy temper. Speaking of the devil, swash. Naruto stood at where his house was supposed to be, only to see Matatabi, Isobu, Sun, Kakum, Seiken, and Jiki pointing at Shukaku and Kurama who looked like they wanted to be anywhere but there. That's when it all clicked in the ninja's head. Those bastards destroyed his house, again. The huge pressure slammed on the two culprits and color intent they've never felt before was directed at them. The air got so thick with the amount of ki Naruto was releasing and then, all of a sudden, it all vanished. For once, Shukaku and Kurama had the same thought going through their minds. Shit, we're fucked. I just wanted y'all to know how much I love you. Please don't miss me while I'm gone, okay? The Tanuki of Suna said his last words. Who knew Shukaku had a side like this? Just so you know, Matatabi, I stole money from your safe to buy an adult magazine. Just wanted to make restitution before I die, Kurama confessed. I knew it, Iro Fox. Matatabi hollered. Hey. A fox has got urges too, you know. Kurama tried to justify his actions. Naruto took a steady gait towards them, and every step forward increased the tension in the air. It got so intense that one of the tailed beasts actually farted. Who the hell was that? Kakyu, the gentle one among Hagoromo's creations, voiced a question that was on everyone's mind. I have good news, guys. Naruto yelled, leaving the Bijus bewildered. Pack your luggage cause we are going to Kuo. What in the world? Kurama had a confused look on his furry face. I have a new mansion waiting for me in Kuo. Naruto squealed in joy like someone that hit the jackpot. What was all the tailed beasts could get out? I'm too old for this shit. Kurama shook his head, sighing deeply. Naruto and company were in front of their new home in Kuo, starting at the little mansion. Naruto couldn't help but smile because this was his first gift in this world, and he'd be damned if he let those wild beasts destroy this one. Well guys, let's go check it out. Naruto's words were followed with a chorus of yeah from his partners in their chibi form. Wow, this place is beautiful. Naruto had a childish-like awe on his face, and was very eager to explore the house. The living room had all kind of furniture with a black LED TV on the wall, 3 couches positioned at the right angle to have a full view of the TV, a dining and a kitchen, with the master bedroom beside it, and a stair leading to the first floor. Naruto started unpacking, and brought out a blank paper, brush, and ink. It was time to fortify his new home with the new seal he was working on. Fuin Jutsu, at its basic, was ink and paper, performing impossible feats. The Bijus were at the top of the food chain, in the elemental nation, but even the majestic beast fell to the power of Fuin Jutsu. It was no doubt one of the strongest ninja arts in the shinobi's world. A whole hidden village was wiped out, because of their affinity for Fuin Jutsu. It was a good thing Naruto picked up this art, while on his training trip with Ero Sennin, bless his perverted soul. Alright, line up guys. Naruto made shadow clones, to unpack, and make sure the first floor was ready for use, while handing seal to them, that had a specific function to put around the house. While the shadow clones were busy fortifying their home, Naruto had bigger fish to fry, and that was the chibi family he had left, and their tendency to destroy his house. No, this is a new house and that means new rules to go by, and I've got 2 rules for y'all, Naruto said with his game face on. No one. Naruto glared at the ones that had the tendency of getting into trouble is allowed to fight inside this house. If you have a beef, go settle it in a forest away from civilization. And the strongest of the 9 Bijus just wanted all this over and done with, so he could watch that soap opera he loved so much. You'll all return into the seal when I'm out. I'm not going back into that sewer. Shikakuku's voice was accompanied by a nod from all his siblings. That's my mindscape we're talking about, Bakutanuki. This is outrageous. You're taking away our rights to free movement. Don't query my authority, Shikaku. It's either you're in or out. Oi Kurama, do something. Sorry bro, every Biju for himself, Kukuku. Shikaku muttered something about evil blondes and stupid foxes under his breath, but complied with the rules set on ground. Boss, the kitchen is filled with all kind of food commodities, and there's instant ramen too. Several poof sounds was heard all around the house to signify that all the clones were done with their individual tasks. Naruto decided to take a walk around Kuo. The hero of Konoha was walking down the streets of Kuo, taking in the sight of the skyscrapers, the cars, different kinds of cars, the billboards, the aeroplanes in the sky, and a lot of other fascinating things. There were the inhabitants, and their strange behavior and traditions. Imagine Naruto's surprise when he saw the map of the world. This world was bigger than the elemental nation by a far margin. Learning about the 7 continents, and the seas, mountain, and other wonders of this world was a very pleasant experience for the unpredictable ninja. He also learned this world has went through 2 bloody world wars. The cycle of hatred was everywhere it seems, and most of these humans don't even know that. There's so much more that lurks in the dark, that all the legends and stories were all true. It was a shame really. Without magic, these humans have devised ways of traveling at abnormal speed, device weapons of massive destruction, heal different kinds of ailments. Makes you wonder how much they would have improved if they had something like chakra at their disposal. With a heavy sigh, the child of prophecy sat on a bench in the park. He remembered the first time he woke up in this new world. Flashback, the beeping sound of a patient's monitor filled the ward where certain someone that just survived fighting a goddess for several days without food or rest was lying in. An IV drip supplied fluids into his body. In a certain sewer, a drop of water created ripples on the knee-length water Naruto was lying on. Another drip echoed across the empty mindscape. Wake up Naruto, a certain feminine voice called out to the blonde Uzumaki. Wake up. Naruto's eyes snapped open in his mindscape, and a second later he regained consciousness in the physical world. I'm not dead. Naruto tried to open his eyes, but the fluorescent lights stung. After his eyes adjusted to the lights, Naruto noted that he wasn't in his tattered jumpsuit, his pouch nowhere to be found, and his hit eye 8 missing. He was in a light blue hospital gown, with a white flower pattern around the gown. He wondered where the Harashin kunai brought him. His sensitive ears pick up indistinct chatter. The smell of strong disinfectant hit his nose. He felt sore and hungry. Naruto brought a hand to his temple, to massage the throbbing headache he had. I see you're finally awake. Naruto snapped his head, to source of the voice, to see a black-haired man wearing spectacles dressed in a doctor's garb. The blue-eyed youth tried to sit up, but the pain would let him. Take it easy, you've been asleep for a week now. We thought you wouldn't wake up for a while, because your wounds were very fatal. The doctor told the awakened blonde. I thought you wouldn't survive, but you miraculously healed itself in front of my eyes, mister. The doctor trailed off Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto introduced himself. Damn. A whole week. That fight really took a lot out of me. How the shinobis pondered. Izumaki-san, my name's Takasugi Azumi, but you can call me Dr. Tak, the doctor introduced, while helping Naruto to a sitting position and cushioning his back with a pillow. Where I was all Naruto could manage to wheeze out due to his dry throat. You're in Takeshi Teaching Hospital in Shingahana District. I have a lot of questions for you, Uzumaki-san. The doc offered him a glass cup of water. Please call me Naruto. I was never one for honorifics. How did you receive such fatal injuries, Naruto-san? Had a big fight, doc. It was a very brutal one. You have no idea. Your Japanese is great, but you don't look like the average Japanese. I tried to find anything that would identify you, maybe like a wallet, a passport, an ID card or a phone, but all could find was 3 tri-pronged knife and a headband. The doc pointed at the objects beside the table. You're not from here, are you? The doctor's entire body language shifted to that of someone on edge, and Naruto grew nervous, because he wasn't sure if this guy was hostile or friendly. I came from a very far place, Naruto replied to the doc. An illegal immigrant? Takasugi queried. Yes, the shinobis lied. What are you, Naruto-san? What do you mean, doc? I saw your wounds heal by themselves, Naruto-san. I heal faster than normal. Humans don't heal that fast. What do you know about the supernatural? Surely you must have some kind of sacred gear that grants you the ability to heal faster than normal. So what faction would want you dead, Naruto-san? I don't think I understand you, doc. My sacred gear shows me the affinity of magic in a human, and every human, no matter how many skill it was, had an affinity for magic, but you had 0 magic affinity. Magic? Like power tricks. Are you perhaps a yokai? Look here, doc, I'm 100% human the last time I checked, so stop questioning my humanity. Naruto was confused right now. All he wanted was some rest and maybe food. Ramen would have been better. Wait, does this place have ramen? I don't know what you're talking about, so if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Naruto tugged at the syringe in his vein and was about to get up before his negative emotion sensing started blaring. We're not done yet, Naruto-san. You see, the people I work need special people like you in their ranks. Whether you like it or not. Naruto had a Harashin kunai to his throat on an instant. Calm down, doc. You don't want to do this, Naruto replied coldly. Someone is about to enter this room, and through to Naruto's ward a nurse with a tray filled with drugs and water entered the ward. Ah, Dr. Takasugi, he's up, I see. Yes, I was checking up on him to see how he was doing. The evil doctor replied casually, like he didn't just threaten the convalescent blonde. You could leave the tray on the beach beside the bed. Thank you, Kagafu-san. Naruto smiled at the young nurse, who returned his gratitude with a nod. 5 seconds later she was out of the room. We could do this with your memory intact, or do you prefer to be brainwashed? Naruto was officially pissed, and not to mention in an inner turmoil now. On one hand, he could just beat the shit out this guy, then interrogate him to gain info on this world, but that was the only scenario he could think of, where the doctor did not lose his life, but on the other hand, the other scenario he thought of ended with the poor sap dying. Naruto had to make a decision and fast. Look bro, I really don't want to kill you, so let me go, and I'll pretend like this never happened. Aren't we a little cocky, Naruto-san? After all, I'm the one with the weapon here. The doc had a crazed gleam in his eyes that Jugo had when he was high on senjutsu. TCH, you leave me no choice then. Before the doctor could blink, Naruto had him on a chokehold, with his fist dangling in the air. Takasugi was really afraid, because he just became the prey, but when he looked into Naruto's glowing purple, he knew his time was up, when the last shinobis placed his right hand on his head. Ningendo. The lifeless body of one Takasugi Azumi dropped with a dull thud. Interesting. Looks like there's more to this world than meets the eye. 8 weeks later, and a perfect replica of the dead doctor stood in Naruto's place, and the body of the doctor was nowhere to be found. Flashback end. Naruto stood up from the wooden chair he sat in to backtrack through the busy street back to his house. Coming through. The brown-haired boy on a collision course with a stationary Naruto who was having a conversation with his tenant screamed out, but unfortunately the Uzumaki was too engrossed in the conversation going on, and they collided, more like the brown-haired boy running into a brick wall, and rebounding off of it with his ass on the floor. Are you alright? Naruto was concerned about the boy, before a familiar smell assaulted his nose. A pervert, huh? You see, spending 2.5 years with Jiraiya, Naruto developed a 7th sense. That's right, a 7th sense that is activated when a pervert is within his radar. Damn. This guy's pervert aura is on par with Ero Sennin's. Issei was a little disoriented but managed to get his bearings. I'm fine, stranger. The mop of blonde hair reminded Issei of Yudo Kiba, the pretty boy in Kuo Academy. I'm sorry, but I gotta go. My mom's going to kill me if I'm late. Naruto continued on his path back home, the same path the perverted brunette took. Naruto wondered if they were neighbors, but dismissed that thought, because his perverted radar would have picked up on something. Naruto could have Harashin home, but didn't because he wanted to walk today, and besides those tailed monstrosity would want out when he got home. Now, all that was left, was to eat as much ramen as he could, then get some much needed sleep. Wake up, wake up. If you don't wake up, I'll kiss you. A tan hand slammed on the alarm clock, that displayed 7:15 a.m. Issei had a really weird alarm clock. Issei yawned. It's morning already. He scratched his unkempt hair while rubbing his eyes. Issei Hyoto was an average a third-year high school student of average height, short spiky brown hair with 2 short locks of hair behind his head, and light brown eyes. He was an only child living with his parents in Kuro. Everything about him was average, except for his massive libido. Issei was a shameless pervert with an unhealthy obsession for women's tits. Due to this, he was disliked by the female students of Kuro Academy. It was a recently co-ed academy and a perfect place for a massive pervert like him, because of the higher female population. He was a proud member of the school's perverted trio, a trio of the most perverted men in Kao Academy. He wore the standard Kuro Academy uniform except he'd had a red shirt. Issei's dream was to become a harem king. He had breakfast, and said a quick goodbye to his parents. Issei was en route to school, when he spotted his new neighbor's house, Uzumaki Naruto. In Issei's opinion, Naruto was an enigma. He was jobless in his age, if Issei took a guess, would be around his early 20s. Sometimes, he'd have this bored expression on his face, and sometimes a deeply melancholic. Issei would sometimes hear different voices coming from his house at night. He still remembered when he bumped into the strange blonde for the first time, and how rigid he was. Issei quickened his pace, while wondering about boobs. The Kendo Club girls' boobs to be exact. If he was lucky today, maybe he could sneak a peek without them knowing. Scene changed. Naruto was in bed, tossing and turning while muttering, "I'm sorry, and it should have been me" in his dreams. He grabbed a fistful of his bed sheet with beads of sweat covered his face, and his expression was that of great anguish. The winds picked up as blue energy exploded from Naruto's body. The whole house shook under the presence of the blonde's chakra. There were loud clattering sounds coming from the entire house, and Naruto, too deep in his sleep to notice he was subconsciously releasing chakra, until he was snapped out of his nightmare by the voice of his friend. Kurama and the rest were in the living room just lounging around, bored out of their mind. Ever since they landed in this dimension, Naruto had never used their full power in battle, and it was kinda boring for those beasts that could cause tsunamis by waving one of their tails. There were a lot of powerful people in this dimension, but the blonde just wouldn't fight, unless it was deemed really necessary. We have to do something about this lackadaisical attitude Naruto has developed over time. Matatabi really cared for Naruto, because he was the one that reunited them after all these years, and gave them hope, but this attitude of his was unbecoming of the mysterious shinobi. Yeah, it's been a while, since we last saw the Naruto that gave a damn about people. Yuki knew the blonde had a tendency to butt into people's business, always wanting to help people should their burden. Do you think he still haven't gotten over his guilt and regrets? Son Goku added his 2 cents on the hot topic. Hey, shouldn't you know why the blonde became like this, Kurama? After all, you've been inside him since birth. Isobu, the 3-tailed turtle, probed the strongest among them. Said fox was on its hind legs, while his head was rested on his paws with his eyes closed. It's a coping mechanism the brat developed over time, and the only way to break out of it depends on him entirely. Kurama shared a much more deeper connection with Naruto than the rest of the Bijus, so he knew the solution to Naruto's problem. I don't think I understand. Shukaku was really confused right now. All I'm saying is that the brat needs to make new bonds. He needs friends, precious people that would help him overcome his guilt, and in his current mindset, that's impossible. I see, he needs to get out there, and, whatever Seiken wanted to say, was cut short when they all felt a spike in Naruto's chakra level. Shit. Kurama cursed under his breath. He hopped off from the couch, and was in Naruto's room a second later. Snap out of it, Naruto, Naruto. Naruto awakened with a gasp to the sight of all 9 Bijus on his bed looking at his with worry-filled eyes. Another nightmare. It was more like a statement than a question from the orange fox. I'm fine, Kurama. Naruto wiped off his face with while trying to calm his erratic breath. You were releasing a lot of chakra while sleeping. Did I? They wouldn't approve of the way you are living. Shut it, Kurama. You have to come to terms with the fact that you can't reach the elemental nations anymore. They would have all turned into white Zetsus by now. Super Gramp Sage must have a solution. Not without our chakra. You don't get it, do you? I have been finding a way out this place for a year now because I'm the only one that can dispel the Mugen Tsukiyomi. I don't know how long it takes to before everyone turns into white Zetsus. This breeding around won't help at all, Naruto. All I'm trying to say is that make new friend, and who knows, maybe they could fill that empty space in your heart once again. What do you suggest I do then? Try to make new acquaintances. Just know that, no matter what happens, we are here for you, Naruto. Naruto was secretly happy he wasn't alone in this world, that he had the tailed beast with him. They helped him keep a bit of his former self, and he's been a little strict with them lately. Thank you everyone, and I am using this medium to apologize to you all for the rules I set up. From now on, you all are free to be anywhere you want, but rule 1 still stands. Don't destroy my house, okay? Yes, I'm free again. Can I use the backyard? Shukaku was almost jumping with glee, because he liked being in the physical world. Yes, you all can use it anyhow. You like Naruto was starting to regret his decision when he saw the faraway look in their eyes. I guess it's time actually change my unemployed status, huh? I think it's high time I created my resume. Naruto had a massive grin on his face. Just hold on guys, Naruto Uzumaki doesn't go back on his words. Tadabayo. Wake up, wake up. If you don't wake up, I'll kiss you. A tan hand slammed on the alarm clock that displayed 7:15 a.m. Issei had a really weird alarm clock. Issei yawned, it's morning already. He scratched his unkempt hair while rubbing his eyes. Issei Hyoto was an average third-year high school student of average height, short spiky brown hair with 2 short locks of hair behind his head, and light brown eyes. He was an only child living with his parents in Kuro. Everything about him was average, except for his massive libido. Issei was a shameless pervert with an unhealthy obsession for women's tits. Due to this, he was disliked by the female students of Kuro Academy. It was a recently co-ed academy and a perfect place for a massive pervert like him, because of the higher female population. He was a proud member of the school's perverted trio, a trio of the most perverted men in Kao Academy. He wore the standard Kuro Academy uniform except he'd had a red shirt. Issei's dream was to become a harem king. He had breakfast, and said a quick goodbye to his parents. Issei was en route to school, when he spotted his new neighbor's house, Uzumaki Naruto. In Issei's opinion, Naruto was an enigma. He was jobless and his age, if Issei took a guess, would be around his early 20s. Sometimes, he'd have this bored expression on his face, and sometimes a deeply melancholic. Issei would sometimes hear different voices coming from his house at night. He still remembered when he bumped into the strange blonde for the first time, and how rigid he was. Issei quickened his pace, while wondering about boobs. The Kendo Club girls' boobs to be exact. If he was lucky today, maybe he could sneak a peek without them knowing. Scene changed. Naruto was in bed, tossing and turning while muttering, "I'm sorry, and it should have been me" in his dreams. He grabbed a fistful of his bedsheet with beads of sweat covered his face, and his expression was that of great anguish. The winds picked up as blue energy exploded from Naruto's body. The whole house shook under the presence of the blonde's chakra. There were loud clattering sounds coming from the entire house, and Naruto too deep in his sleep to notice he was subconsciously releasing chakra, until he was snapped out of his nightmare by the voice of his friend. Kurama and the rest were in the living room just lounging around, bored out of their mind. Ever since they landed in this dimension, Naruto had never used their full power in battle, and it was kinda boring for those beasts that could cause tsunamis by waving one of their tails. There were a lot of powerful people in this dimension, but the blonde just wouldn't fight, unless it was deemed really necessary. We have to do something about this lackadaisical attitude Naruto has developed over time. Matatabi really cared for Naruto, because he was the one that reunited them after all these years, and gave them hope, but this attitude of his was unbecoming of the mysterious shinobi. Yeah, it's been a while, since we last saw the Naruto that gave a damn about people. Gyuki knew the blonde had a tendency to butt into people's business, always wanting to help people should their burden. Do you think he still haven't gotten over his guilt and regrets? Son Goku added his 2 cents on the hot topic. Hey, shouldn't you know why the blonde became like this, Kurama? After all, you've been inside him since birth. Isobu, the 3-tailed turtle, probed the strongest among them. Said fox was on its hind legs, while his head was rested on his paws with his eyes closed. It's a coping mechanism the brat developed over time, and the only way to break out of it depends on him entirely. Kurama shared a much more deeper connection with Naruto than the rest of the Bijus, so he knew the solution to Naruto's problem. I don't think I understand. Shukaku was really confused right now. All I'm saying is that the brat needs to make new bonds. He needs friends, precious people that would help him overcome his guilt, and in his current mindset, that's impossible. I see, he needs to get out there, and, whatever Seiken wanted to say, was cut short when they all felt a spike in Naruto's chakra level. Shit. Kurama cursed under his breath. He hopped off from the couch, and was in Naruto's room a second later. Snap out of it, Naruto. Naruto. Naruto awakened with a gasp to the sight of all 9 Bijus on his bed looking at his with worry-filled eyes. Another nightmare. It was more like a statement than a question from the orange fox. I'm fine, Kurama. Naruto wiped off his face with while trying to calm his erratic breath. You were releasing a lot of chakra while sleeping. Did I? They wouldn't approve of the way you are living. Shut it, Kurama. You have to come to terms with the fact that you can't reach the elemental nations anymore. They would have all turned into white Zetsus by now. Super Gramp Sage must have a solution. Not without our chakra. You don't get it, do you? I have been finding a way out this place for a year now because I'm the only one that can dispel the Mugen Tsukiyomi. I don't know how long it takes to before everyone turns into white Zetsus. The subreading around won't help at all, Naruto. All I'm trying to say is that make new friend, and who knows, maybe they could fill that empty space in your heart once again. What do you suggest I do then? Try to make new acquaintances. Just know that, no matter what happens, we are here for you, Naruto. Naruto was secretly happy he wasn't alone in this world, that he had the tailed beast with him. They helped him keep a bit of his former self, and he's been a little strict with them lately. Thank you everyone, and I am using this medium to apologize to you all for the rules I set up. From now on y'all are free to be anywhere you want, but rule 1 still stands. Don't destroy my house, okay? Yes. I'm free again. Can I use the backyard? Shikaku was almost jumping with glee, because he liked being in the physical world. Yes, you all can use it anyhow. You like Naruto was starting to regret his decision when he saw the faraway look in their eyes. I guess it's time actually change my unemployed status, huh? I think it's high time I created my resume. Naruto had a massive grin on his face. Just hold on guys, Naruto Uzumaki doesn't go back on his words. Oh, Naruto-san, Issei was astonished to see his neighbor in school, and as a teacher no less. Oh, isn't that the perverted brat? Something about him has changed, Naruto mused in his mind. Hey, Kyoto, and it's Naruto-sensei to you, Naruto acknowledged the brunette. Everyone was astounded by the fact that their perverted classmate knew the blonde teacher. Issei was going to ask Naruto if he remembered Yuma-chan, but knew that now wasn't the time. Naruto wrote the topic of the day on the marker board and started to elaborate on the day's topic for the students. Scene change. Ryu's Gremory was in the occultic research club, beside the window in her office, looking down at the busy humans going around the school premises, until her attention was drawn to a blonde man in black sitting on a bench with his eyes closed. Akeno, who's that? Ryu's pointed at Naruto. That's the new biology teacher, Akeno Himejima, Ryu's queen and best friend, one of the 2 great One-sama of Kuo Academy. Ryu stared at the blonde shinobi for a while, before diverting her gaze back to a white-haired petite female student in front of her desk. Keep an eye on him, and if you notice anything out of the ordinary, report back to me, Ryu's ordered a rook, Kaneko Taojo. Naruto was really annoyed. The fangirls of this world were on a completely different level, compared to the ones in the elemental nation. His sensitive ears picked up on the comments of the students. Naruto-sensei looks so handsome, with that his black marks on his face. I love Naruto-sama. Kaya. I wish I could sit by Naruto-sama, lucky bastard. But die blondie, Naruto's eyes twitched at that. This school was like any normal school except, it had those blasted supernatural bats, disguised as humans, schooling amongst them. After absorbing the doctor's soul, Naruto gained a lot of info on the supernatural world. Naruto could sense supernatural beings, if he was in sage mode. They felt inhuman, and a devil's aura had a dark, but not necessarily evil feel to it. He remembered his first encounter with the devil, and when he learned nature in this dimension, was angry at everything. Flashback. After busting out of the hospital, he was held up in for a week. Naruto knew he had to find a place to lay low for the meantime. The doctor worked for an organization known as the Hero Faction. This organization collected different kinds of sacred gear user to rid the world of devils and fallen angels. Naruto didn't have time to deal with this organization, not when the elemental nation's inhabitants were still under the influence of the Mugen Tsukiyomi. The knucklehead ninja wondered how long it would take before everyone back at home would turn into white zetsus. It was a race against time, and the problem was a ticket to the elemental nation, but for now, he had other worries, like how he'd survive in this alien world. It was a miracle his Harashin kunai landed in Japan when he threw it through that hole. Where Kaguya's technique brought him to was very dangerous. Naruto had no doubt he would have died if he wasn't in Kurama chakra mode. Naruto navigated his way from the hospital to the forest in the distance. With his destination decided, he pumped chakra into his legs, and with a mighty hop he was hiding in the air, and he had a bird's eye view of the city. Kurama, you there? Naruto tried contacting his partner when he landed on the forest floor, but received no reply from the giant fox. Kurama. Jayuki. Son. Still no reply from the Bijus. Fearing the worst, Naruto dived into his mindscape, only to see all the tailed beasts were asleep. Naruto breathed out a sigh of relief. The fight with Kaguya was no doubt the hardest fight he's ever had. The fight with Nagato, Jubi, Obito, and Six-Path Madara paled in comparison to the scale of destruction they left in the wake of their clash. The current state of the Bijus might be due to chakra exhaustion. Maybe they spent the last of their reserves into healing his body. Naruto exited the seal and lotus position on the floor of the forest, ready to draw on nature's energy before kill. Naruto's blue orbs whitened to epic proportions. This wasn't right, it's impossible. The amount of malice he felt from drawing nature's energy wasn't supposed to be there at all. The hate wasn't on the level Kurama had before they became friends, but this caused great concern for Naruto. Nature was warm and kind back in the elemental nation. The aliens on this planet have managed to piss off nature. Naruto's musings were cut short when his battle instinct screamed at him to dodge. The blonde ninja rolled away from the position he was into a defensive stance when the position he was in exploded into debris. Is there? Show yourself. A monster walked out of the forest and into the clearing Naruto was standing on. Another pathetic human, the monster looked like a combination of a goat and a man. The hell are you? Naruto had never seen something like this in his life. The creature with a human's upper body and lower body had the resemblance of a goat. Since you are going to die anyway, I am the stray devil that haunts this very woods you're in. A supernatural being. The bit of information he got from Takasugi's soul had details mostly about T-Hero faction, and he was a low-ranked member of the organization. I have eaten lots of unfortunate children who were unfortunate to have crossed my path, and whatever it was going to solve was interrupted by a Rasengan to the head courtesy of Naruto. I don't have time for this. Naruto was on the stray devil's decapitated body of the stray devil. Naruto heard ruffling sounds coming from all directions. There's more of them, Naruto noted. A dozen of stray devils busted from all around, with one goal in mind, to avenge their fallen comrade. Naruto closed his eyes, and blurred out of sight, and 4 strays fell to the ground dead. He reappeared behind another stray, with his legs raised for an axe kick, that cracked the skull of the current stray he was facing, landing on his feet with 5 dead strays. He may quickly dispose of the rest, using the Heroshin kunai. A clapping sound filled the silent forest. That was a most impressive display for a human. A humanoid figure walked out of the place. He was observing the blonde human take out the strays. Looks like your sacred gear was not only for high-speed regeneration, but also grants increased speed and strength. The stranger analyzed. Your abilities would prove useful. Work with us, and we will teach you how to release the full potential of your sacred gear. The green-haired man tried to cajole Naruto. I don't need you guys to teach me anything, Naruto snarled at the greenhead. Well then I guess, I'll have to use lethal force, he said casually with a poker face. Before we fight, let's exchange names. I'm Daisuke Anshi, the green blade 2-edged blade, from its black scabbard with a dark sliver hilt. Naruto didn't give out his name, but rushed at his opponent with a Heroshin kunai in hand. Daisuke charged at him, and they meet in the middle, at both blades, collide with each other. Naruto's eyes widened, when the green blade sliced through his like butter, and was headed for his shoulder. With the agility worthy of a ninja, Naruto shifted his body away from the path of the blade. Ha, my blade is my sacred gear. It has the ability to cut through metals, Daisuke boasted. Naruto just etched and brought another Heroshin kunai, but this time, he coated it with a layer of wind chakra, and threw it at the green-haired villain. Daisuke brought his sword up ready to slake the little blade away, before it was his turn to be surprised when Naruto flashed right in front of him, with a blue spinning orb in hand, with set orb near his face. Rasengan. Naruto screamed out the name of his technique, but Daisuke reacted fast, and used his sword like a shield against the spinning order. The orb and blade battled for dominance in a second, and it looked like the Rasengan was winning the war before it exploded outward with a blast of chakra kicking up dust. Daisuke skidded to a halt, while his clothes were singed here and there. The greenhead was on alert, because the blonde wasn't in front of him anymore. He looked right, left, front and back, but saw no sign of the blonde. Before he looked up and there was still no sign of the blonde, then that means. Daisuke back flipped away in time just before a kunai pierced his head, but his face was met with by a vicious chakra-enhanced kick from another blonde, which sent him crashing through the forest and toppling trees. This kid is stronger than expected. I have to get serious. Daisuke knew not to undertime the blonde Uzumaki anymore. The green-haired swordsman took in a deep breath, and inhaled out and uttered 2 words: balance breaker. The green aura surrounded him while sword took on a more titanic size, and as for the swordsman, he now had green skin. It's over. Daisuke said those words and blurred out of Naruto's sight, and a second later, his sword went through Naruto's chest. Daisuke smiled when he, though he had achieved victory before the blonde impaled with his sword, poofed out of existence. What? The swordsman was perplexed. You let your guard down, Naruto's voice came behind him, and he had 2 of those orbs in his hands. Rearing both of his arms backwards, Naruto drove them towards the man's unguarded back. Rasengan. Naruto screamed. Daisuke was sent toppling off into the ground with little blood dripping from his wound. Daisuke stood up with a smile on his face. That should have ended it, Naruto kinda-like stated. Daisuke charged at Naruto with his titanic sword, while Naruto empowered his kunai with lots of wind chakra. It started glowing blue, and with it, he stopped the incoming charge. Impressive blade you got there, the swordsman complimented him. Naruto slid his kunai along the edges of the titanic blade to change its trajectory before the bigger man grabbed his hand, and threw him away, while nicked Naruto's right hand with his sword. Naruto tried to make his hand to make hand seals, but found that he couldn't control his right hand anymore. Naruto glared at the greenhead, as if demanding an explanation. You see, my sacred gear is this sword and its name's Wild Jade, the swordsman explained. A single cut renders the body part useless for given amount of time. Daisuke explained. This is the end. Daisuke declared himself the winner. Is it? Naruto's hair overshadowed his eyes, and with a low chuckle, Naruto brought his left hand up above his head, and created a Rasengan, and kept on pumping chakra into it, until it was as big a house. Daisuke knew he was fucked. So in a last attempt, he threw his massive sword at Naruto hoping to kill the blonde. You really don't pay attention to your surrounding. Daisuke's eyes widened, when he heard Naruto's voice behind him again. Adama Rasengan. Naruto slammed the Rasengan into Daisuke, ending the match, in the wake of the Rasengan's destruction. This place is no longer safe anymore, and like that Naruto disappeared from the battlefield. Flashback ends. That was the first time Naruto fought a stray devil, but he's met other devils too. Naruto got up from the bench he was on when he ran into the brown-haired pervert. Naruto-sensei, do you remember Amano Yuma-chan? Who? The girl that asked me out on a date. Oh yes, I remember her. How was your date anyways? Issei was happy someone remembered Yuma-chan. That's the thing, Naruto-sensei, I don't seem to remember what happened at the end of our date. Thanks for listening. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. See you in the next video. Peace.